To the Political Common Sense Podcast. I'm Leroy Glover.
I'm Kerry Langenbeck.
And I'm Edward Blacknick. And we're here to bring you the no-nonsense political view.
Common sense.
Whether you're man, whether you're woman, whether you're black, whether you're white, give me polka dot. And it's just going to be so commonsensical that you'll get it. You'll get it. Yeah, it makes no difference. You know, you could be from space. You could be. Let me see if I can give you some space here.
Oh, believe me, we got people down here in space.
Yeah, that part.
Hello.
I'm from the space.
No, that's the part they really do. If they do more of this,
Listen, come on to Lee. Wait. Let me come on to Lee. You ready? So,
Lee, you sexy little. I said, do you remember that lady Tan Mom? Do you remember Tan Mom? That's who I sound like. I sound like Tan.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. And they're the ones that they call Trump deranged.
Yeah, there it is. That part right there. Goodness gracious.
Okay, so anyway, we're here to dispel the myths that are put out there every day. And they're out there constantly. For the most part, you know, like, it's not even like Dems actually have something to say. They literally make it up as they go along. It's the most incredible thing. Me and Lee actually encountered someone this week. We encountered a few people who like to make up facts as they went along. So Lee had put up a post that said simply, what was it? What is it? Why is it that you don't like a successful businessman like Donald Trump? You know, it's a simple question. You can't tell me a man. Right, good.
My head almost got chopped off just by mentioning his name.
Dude, how can you turn around and say, a man with $8 billion and doesn't run a drug cartel isn't a successful businessman? I'm sorry. How can you do that? So wait. So some guy turns around on his post, and I won't use names or anything because I really would show the post, but I wouldn't use my names or anything. So some guy turns around and goes, well, 6 bankruptcies, right? So of course, you know, the thing about the Dems is they're not happy being equal with themselves. So in other words, like another Dem looking at it and going, 6 bankruptcies. Okay, that sounds good. No, he's got to come on and say, no, it's 7. So if you go look, first off, it is 6. The first guy was right. So my question then was, which see, this is what they don't get. They think that it's going to stop there and you're going to go, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Donald Trump had 6 bankruptcies. Oh my God, I better vote for Kamala now. Instead, what you do is you ask, he had 6 bankruptcies. How many businesses did he have? No, Gary, the next thing you ask is, how many businesses does he have? Think about that a minute. If you have 7 businesses and 6 of them went bankrupt, okay, I give you that. That's bad. He's got 250. So if 250 businesses, 6 of them go bankrupt, that's less, literally, that's less than 1%. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. If I don't know that, I would never vote for him.
I'm crazy. Now if he had 251 businesses with 6, then I vote for him. But that one, I mean, that was just the dumbest fucking thing going. So I called him on it, right? So I called him on it. I go, oh no, the other one, that was the felonies. Yeah. So he goes, so I turned around and said, if you think a man, he brought up felonies, he's a felon. So I said, if you think a man waited 73 years without having so much as a parking ticket, never drank coffee, never had a smoke, never had a glass of alcohol, never had a jaywalking ticket, at 74 decided to commit 110 felonies, there's something mentally wrong with you.
Right.
So he goes, no, there were felonies before. So I said, name them. Right. Lee can tell you if I'm lying. Lee, if I'm lying about one bit of this, please, I want you to call me on it, my man. And Lee would do it because Lee's got integrity. But anyway, am I lying? Is anything I said not true so far?
I just can't.
So I turned around to him and I said, name them. You know what, Lee, what was his answer to me? You failed. You couldn't find. No, he told me to find it. He told me you find it. So I said, he goes, I have faith in you. This is what he said. I have faith in you. You can find it. So I said, don't have faith in me. There's nothing to find. It never happened. Right. So then he comes back and he goes,
nothing to see here.
Something really ridiculous. But the whole thing is they just make shit up and they assume that you're too stupid to research it. Dude, In this day and age, I'm being really honest. In this day and age, you can't lie about your schooling. You can't lie about your employment. You can't lie about where you were Saturday at 7:00 because there's a camera in the street that saw you. You can't do. You want to turn around right now, Leroy. If I turn around to you and I say I went to Harvard, you can check that shit on Harvard.com.
In real
whether
time.
I'm on the list or
in
not.
real time.
There's nothing that can't be checked. But these idiots don't fucking realize that.
No, they don't.
Anyway,
So
I'm sorry, Lee.
No. But here's the thing that's troubling, not troubling, but concerning. These individuals went to Harvard, they went to Yale, they went to Columbia, and they have a conniption when you mention, hey, I like this policy or I like the way he's tackling.
You're bringing that up. You're bringing
issue.
up a great point, my man. You're bringing up a great point.
Yeah.
You go back to the 1960s and 70s, okay? 60s and 70s. Berkeley, California was one of the biggest
colleges.
First Amendment colleges. In other words, where they believed in freedom of everything. You had freedom of protest, freedom to do this, freedom. Now they'll tell you they're for freedom, but they're for freedom as long as you choose what they want.
What they say.
That's their idea of freedom. Choose one wrong thing. If you want an example, look at Mayor Adams. Mayor Adams is a phenomenal example of this. Mayor Adams was the angel. He was there. He was there. He was saving the sanctuary city. Yeah. And the minute he turned around and said, "We can't handle any more immigrants in New York," up on charges. They went after him. The minute, literally 2 days later, he was up on charges. He said, New York City cannot sustain the amount of immigrants coming in with the Roosevelt hotels and this and that and what's going on. He said, we cannot sustain that. 2 days later, he was up on charges for embezzlement.
Yeah.
He just got released. I think Donald Trump pardoned him from it or something, or he spoke to the judge.
Okay, so that scares me in a sense. Are we being hijacked from within or something like that? Because it doesn't make any common sense, which is the CommonSense Podcast.
We're being hijacked. See, and it's funny because
don't make common sense.
Like Randy Weingarten is the union boss of the education. What is it? Board of Ed.
Okay.
Randy Weingarten. Now, listen to the logic behind this. Okay, listen to the logic behind this. She says Donald Trump wants to do away with the Department of Education when children can't read and children can't add. Who's been in charge of teaching them to read and add? The Department of Education.
Right.
So explain that shit. Explain how getting rid of it is going to make it any worse. They can't do it anyway.
Okay.
They can't do it. Do you know, Leroy, listen to this. I swear this is true. In public school system right now, only 3 out of 10 children can read and add at the level they're supposed to read. They're supposed to be. Homeschooling, 10 out of 10 can add and read at their level.
So what does that tell us in general?
10 out of 10.
So what does that tell us in general? Just that alone.
It tells us that no one cares more about their kids than their parents. So in other words, when a kid goes to school and he ain't learning or she ain't learning, unless he's the teacher's pet or she's the teacher's pet, they're not getting that extra little bit that they need to learn. And I don't care what you tell me about teachers such a noble this and noble that. So is police officers, so is military. Unfortunately, people aren't. So you have some people who go into the military who just want to kill people. They just literally want to legally kill somebody. You have other people who go into the military because it's a family thing. Their family's been into it and they go into it. You have other people who go into it because of something like 9/11 that happens and it sets them off. And then you have others that, and this is the fact, whether you believe this or not, you have others who go before a judge. And the judge says, I'll either put you in jail or you go in the military.
I heard about stories like that.
Yes.
True. Yes, we have a friend that it happened to. We have a friend that it happened to. One of our friends robbed something from it. I'm not going to go into the whole detail of it.
Yeah.
He robbed something. And it wasn't a major amount. It was like $3,000 or $4,000. It wasn't a lot. But it was a decent enough amount. The judge gave him a choice. Go in the Army or go to jail.
And he went in the Army.
But it's not, now, don't get me wrong. Every military person, okay, takes a chance and is putting their life on the line.
Oh, yeah,
However, some of them do it for the right reason, and others do it because they have no choice or because they want to kill somebody. So teachers are no different. Teachers are no different. You get some teachers there who actually love teaching the children.
Yeah.
You have other teachers there who just want summers off,
right,
and holidays off,
right.
And you have other teachers who are writers or actors or something, and this gives them more time to do their other thing.
Right.
So it's not a case of I don't know quite how to explain it. It's not really a case of every one of these teachers or every one of these police officers or every one of these having altruistic means, altruistic thoughts.
Right.
Some of them are doing it for greedy reasons.
Yeah.
And whether you believe it or not, it's the way people are. It's not something that's it's the way people are.
Right. Okay, so
I believe it.
Brother, share with me, brother, why when you talk about politics, I don't know if you experienced it the same way Captain and I did when we would communicate online. Why is it that when you talk about politics, bro, that people have a conniption? What is it about that? Did you experience it like that?
Say it again. Because that was a good question. Say it again.
Yeah, why? I'm talking to my bro. Why is it when you talk about politics to others, and if you don't align with their politics, they just have a conniption fit? What is it?
The only thing I can answer that, yeah. Well, one, they can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. That's right.
And also, like you said, it's common sense, but nobody really has common sense that you talk to. They'd rather argue with you, even though you can tell them the facts, they'll still argue with you. And I've been there. At my job, no lie, the first time Donald Trump won, the first time, I never heard, all right, no one said anything. When Biden won, oh, forget about it. You heard things, yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Now I'm speaking, but, they don't want to hear you. They come, this guy at my job used to come into my locker room, like open the door most of the time, like say good morning, and they go, buying it,
Right.
Yeah.
But then later on, I'm sorry, the best part later on down the line, like a year, 2 years later, he's complaining about his gas because he has to travel. Gas prices went up. Meanwhile, I'm trying to explain to him that when you vote for that, this is what you're going to get.
This is what you get. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
And 2 years later, everything went up, and I said, well, what do you think happened?
Well, okay, so now let me tell you, I'm going to go. Okay, so that's you're absolutely right on that particular area of it. But I'm going to go to the very basic of it.
Okay.
Your average person, like two strangers talking to each other, how they have to get you to agree with them. But even agreeing with them will not stop the anger. Watch. Turn around next time and go, you're absolutely right. And watch them get angrier. Get angrier. So like, example, when I'm done with this, just turn around and say, you're right. Say, okay, just tell me you're right, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, Donald Trump.
Captain, what you were saying, you're right. I give it to you. You're right.
Wait, just give me 1 minute. No, let me give you the subject first, and then do it. Okay, hold on a second. Watch this. So it's gonna be like, well, Donald Trump did sexually assault that woman. How could you say she didn't? How could you say he didn't? I'm telling you, he did it. Okay, now say it.
You're right. I guess I was wrong.
You're absolutely right. I don't understand why you didn't get that from the beginning. It doesn't make sense. And there's so much more that he did. And there's so much more. That's what you get. If they never turn around and go, well, I'm glad I was able to get through to you.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It's never that.
That would be nice, though.
Would be nice.
But okay, so now you're opening up more awareness of where it's scary in a sense. If I'm agreeing with you, okay, hey, I guess you turned me around to your side of thinking. Why in the world are you even being more hostile to me? I was like, wait a minute.
Well, that's just it. Do you remember what I said to you the other day? They believe that the louder you are and the angrier you are makes you right. That's what it is. The louder you are and the angrier you are, it makes you right. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing. All that does is cut off avenues of communication.
No, because
now you can't work ideas.
But here's the thing is still troubling to me.
Wait, just one more thing. Let me just say one more thing about that, because I'm not done and I don't want to lose track, okay? The other thing about it is they never actually read the information. So in other words, like what a story will come up on the news, right? And they'll see the headline. And the headline, what you have to realize is headlines are meant to make you want to come and read the story. So the headlines are always like they're crazy. They're going to be the craziest thing. And it's probably not even going to be in a story. It's a story probably has nothing to do with it. Like, like it might be something like, Donald Trump bitten by shark. And it turns out that it was like a little tri-tail tip shark that was like, 3 inches long. But they'll get you to read the story through that. So these people read the headline and never read the story and think they know it. They think they know it. And then they're going to argue with you after you've read the story.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. So that's what's happening. That makes a whole lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense right there.
It's a belief in knowledge that they lack.
Listen, half of those protesters out there, they don't even know what they're protesting.
And
he's right. Dude, do you know that they were shouting and screaming from the river to the sea, right? So somebody walked over to him and said, "Were you just yelling from the river to the sea?" The girl goes, "Yeah." He goes, "What river to what sea?"
She didn't know.
She had no idea. It's the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. I don't understand. Your protest, and then the best is Queers for Palestine. Queers for Palestine. The only place, you're against Israel when Israel is the only place that accepts your lifestyle. It's the only place in the Middle East that accepts your lifestyle. Everybody else wants to kill you.
Hold on, Captain. Queers for Palestine. And I'm under the impression that in that fate of religion, if you're on the other side of the fence,
they'll throw you off a roof.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's the punishment. You get thrown off a roof.
Guess what? You get fucked twice.
Yeah. But only twice. Because the second time, that's like, remember Daffy Duck when he does that final trick and he goes, "But I can only do it once." Remember, he drinks the gasoline, he eats the dynamite, and he blows himself up.
Right.
And Bugs goes, "Wow, that was a great trick." He goes, "Yeah, but I can only do it once."
That's it.
Oh, but he's right though. They throw you off the roof.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, guys.
These people are normal.
They're normal.
What about women? Women can't drive. They can't go to school. They can't. These people are for this country.
So okay, it must be me. So there's a disconnect somewhere in my understanding. If they're going to throw somebody off of the roof because they're gay, why would that person wholeheartedly want to stand by their cause or even want to even associate themselves with them?
They have no idea what they're doing. They're stupid. And what they want to be, you got to understand, like all of the protests. Hey, a great example. Do you remember when they had that Wall Street thing down? What was it called? When they were camping out, Wall Street, whatever. You notice once it got cold, everybody went home, right?
Yeah.
You notice once it got cold, everybody went home. You know why? Do you know why? Because until it was cold, it was Woodstock. It was everybody partying and having a good time. And, I'm on your side. Once it got uncomfortable, they went home. Because in reality, they don't believe what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So they're willing to do it as long as it's comfortable. In other words, they're willing to sleep as long as the bed is soft.
Right.
I like that analogy.
And that's where common sense now is coming, where it's not going to be soft for them no more.
Okay, so why are they so concerned with Donald Trump as president?
You're a really good moderator too, by the way. You're really good at this. Seriously, you are. You are, because you bring it out there. You're bringing out the chutzpah in me.
The chutzpah, the Yorkville chutzpah. That's it. All right. So why are they so concerned that Donald Trump is the president out of all people?
It's not okay. So that's just it. It's not that the rank and file Democrats, the regular Democrats, I'm talking about the normal ones, are actually very middle of the road, believe it or not. The normal ones. I'm not saying the ones that are trying to change kids, the normal ones, like from Kennedy era and stuff. They're rank and file, they're normal and they're perfectly great. The problem is the fringe. And the thing about the fringe is the fringe wants to be superior. And what they feel makes them superior is their numbers. Because if you can get somebody to agree with you, you're smarter in your own eyes. I mean, like someone who tells you you're wrong doesn't make you feel good. Okay. Someone who tells you you're right makes you feel great.
Right.
So that's why that's how they find each other. And then what they do is they take one or two politicians' words, and they run with it. In other words, like Adam Schiff, that's a great one. Adam Schiff, okay? So they'll take Adam Schiff's words that there's a whistleblower, and he's coming out, and he's going to come out someday, and that was fucking 8 years ago, and no whistleblower ever came out. But they every day they were like, oh, Trump's going to get it today. The whistleblower's coming out today. Trump's going to get it. Oh, yeah. 8 years later, the whistleblowers never come out. Because they never was. So what I'm telling you is the politicians know how stupid their constituents are. And they play it off. And they just, all they got to do is, why do you think they say exactly the same thing? Remember Bloodbath? Do you remember Bloodbath?
Yeah, they just
okay. So Donald Trump got up and said that if our automakers, if we don't keep our automakers here and stay with gas, that it's going to be an economic bloodbath.
Right.
They went out there saying that he was looking to start World War III with a bloodbath. Do you think one of these fucking Democrat idiots turned around and said, let me check this out. This is crazy.
Right.
Think about some of the shit they say. He's going. The most recent one I heard, okay, was, and this was on The View. You can look this up. This came directly from The View. Donald Trump is looking to separate mixed marriages, so like between white and black, and he's using Clarence Thomas to do it. Clarence Thomas is in a mixed race marriage. His wife is white.
I know.
So what is he doing? Clarence Thomas is going to put up a bill that says he can't stay with his own wife. So they asked Joy Behar about that. I forget who the guy was. It might have been like Stephen Smith or somebody. They said, so you're telling me that he wants, so you know what her answer was? Yeah, he wants to separate them so he can put his own woman in there. He can put his own woman with Clarence Thomas. That was her answer. That was the answer of a person who heads a show called The View.
Here's people watching it.
Here's my concern, and it's a serious concern. I'm not just being, being jokey or anything.
I get it.
These individuals went to college and got degrees.
That's where they learn this.
I think they just went right by it.
That's the narrative. See, that's the whole point. Is colleges, first off, there should be no such thing in college as tenure. There should be, and no one should be beyond being fired. Okay?
Right.
Because at any given point, you can do something wrong. And if you're tenured, you can't do anything wrong. You can't be fired. So, and it's absurd when you're putting, when you're putting someone's education in this person's hands and you're saying you could do whatever you want. Dude, do you ever see the movie? Do you ever see the movie 21 Jump Street?
No.
Oh, good one.
With Channing Tatum, if you get a chance, watch it.
Okay.
Do you know who's the guy that plays Spence on King of Queens? What's his name? I can't think of it. The guy who plays Spence. He's a heavyset guy who was on the radio. I can't think of his name right now. He's right, Oswald. Patton Oswald. That's who it is. So he's in the movie and he plays a professor in college, and he goes, really, you could say anything. I could say anything. I'm tenured. I could tell you that the moon is green. I could tell you that I'm sleeping with two of my students, which I actually am, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he's right. There's nothing they can do about it. He's got tenure. You can't be fired.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole Doja thing.
Wait 1 second. The thing about a job that makes you do best at that job is the fear you can lose that job.
That's the part.
Without that fear, you have no reason to do the best. Plain and simple.
Right. That's why you show up every day. You're on time. Why? Because you know.
Even a billionaire. Why do you think Donald Trump only sleeps 4 hours a night? Because he has so many businesses. He knows if he doesn't show up and do his best, he's going to lose them. Okay? A billionaire doesn't have tenure, but a professor does.
Let that sink in for a second.
Now explain this to me. Okay, explain this to me. You want me to tell you? Okay, so we're talking about like why the politician at Dems are so worried about everything, right? Why they're so worried about Donald Trump getting in, because he exposes everything with them. Now you want a great example? The best example I can give you right now. Forget Pelosi with the insider trading. Forget all that. Forget Biden with the cross contamination of money from Iran, this place and that place. Let's just talk AOC for 1 second. AOC makes it probably around $175,000 a year. Yeah. She's been in Congress for 4 years. Okay. In that 4 years, remember, she had to pay rent. She had to pay. She went to that ball that was like $30,000 or something like that. But yet somehow after 4 years, she walked into Congress being worth about $60,000. Yeah. Okay. But somehow today she's worth $20 million 4 years later.
How did that happen?
Explain that. Explain it. Her boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever it is now, was given money to be like her bodyguard or whatever it was at the same time, or something to that effect. She's at $20 million she's worth. Not me. To be worth $20 million, you had to make $25 million.
Yeah, because 175,000 times 4 is 700,000.
Imagine that. So if she didn't have to pay rent and she didn't have to eat for 4 years, that's perfect. I'm glad she did that. That's why I love Kerry. That's what I love about Kerry. Anyway, so let's assume for 1 second she didn't have to eat a morsel of food. She slept outside on a bench. Right. She still would only have $770,000. Wow. Instead, she's got 25 times that. That's a value. That's a worth. That's not how much she made. Because you got to remember, if she's worked that's what she has. So she had to make more than that to sustain her lifestyle.
So here's the thing. Let's talk about Doge. Is Doge going to expose how she got to get the $20 million worth of network?
No. Doge won't do that. What Doge does is it finds the excess. So in other words, what I mean by that is like they just said, here's a great one. We only have 334 million people in the United States. I think that's it. My numbers might be off again. I'm not doing any research while I'm standing here, but I'm not that far. We got 394 million people on Social Security. So we got 60 million more people on Social Security than we got people in the United States. We've got people on Social Security who are over 300 years old. Okay, we've got people. We've got 1.6 million people on Social Security that are over 116.
Here's my question. Shouldn't all Americans that are tax-paying adults be so behind a Doge concept of saying, hey, let's find out where all this money's coming from so we can utilize it?
They're not right. But see, that's the whole thing. They're so hypnotized by their party that they don't even care about themselves. Everything that they say, everything that they say does nothing but benefit the politicians. All they care about is benefiting. They don't realize these people that they want to put back in power, okay, aren't doing anything for them. They're doing it for themselves. And you got to ask yourself, when you've got someone who walked in with $60,000 and walked out with 20 million, okay, or has 20 and hasn't left yet, but has done nothing for her area. They say she's the worst. She's the worst representative. And in fact, she lost how many jobs was Amazon bringing in there? Amazon was supposed to open up a factory in Long
Island City.
Right, Long Island City. Right, in Long Island City, and it was supposed to bring 3,000 jobs, and it would have brought the economy of that area up severely, and she went against it. So she went against 3,000 of her constituents having jobs, and not just jobs, but good jobs. We're talking about jobs where you have benefits, where everything that you want is paid for. In other words, if you want to go take classes or anything, it's all paid for. The benefits kick in the first day. Okay, the pay scale runs from $23 an hour up to $70 an hour, and she got rid of them. You know why? You know why she got rid of them? Because kickbacks from the neighbor. The neighborhood doesn't want it. So what they do is the business people get together and they go, listen, if you bring that in here, that's going to take business away from us. And then she gets a kickback.
Right.
So is Doge going to expose those kickbacks or not really?
No, that's not Doge's point. Doge what Doge does is, do you remember they said he sent out the email that said, I want you to send me back 5 things that you did last week? The reason he did that is because a lot of people who are working from home don't exist. They're fake. So, they're fake. I'm dead serious. They're fake. So he sends out the email and they can't turn around and say, I did this, and this. So they can't reply to it. So if they don't reply, he takes it as a resignation. You resign. That's it. You're done.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Listen, dude.
And that's a business when you're doing it. It's a job. You have to know what you're doing. If you're getting paid to do work, you better be doing it.
Right. And the other thing they found out was these people were working from home, supposedly, were working an hour a day and then had another job on the side.
Ooh. So that was exposed.
Right. And then also these
They were doing that during COVID. They would go home. Okay, people had to go home, especially the building I was working. But some of them go shopping. They're not there with it because you're supposed to be there for the hours.
or doing their job from the beach, you know what I'm saying, on vacation in like the Barbados, and they're on their laptop, you know. But the other thing it does is, you know how like we give money away a lot? So one of the things that like there was a big package of aid going to like Tehran and all of these places. Dude, I think it was Tehran. I could be wrong. It might be Iran. I'm not sure which. I'm not looking at anything. But one of the things that we were giving money for, we were giving $22 million to Iran, I think it is, to do a play in the street about Sesame Street. So Donald Trump said, wait. So Donald Trump, I can tell you what Donald Trump said. So Donald Trump turns around and goes, I could put that on Broadway for $1 million and have $21 million left over. And you're doing this in the middle of the street of Iran. Think about that. How stupid? Do you really care? Another thing was $75 million to make rats transgendered to see if they're depressed. Another one was to see how rats act on cocaine.
Yeah, good one.
You know what the answer to that was, right? They smoke a lot of cigarettes and try to pick up women.
I can't with you, Captain. I can't with you. Okay, so my concern is, why aren't politicians furious of all this exposure that's being exposed and wanting to do something about it, to stop it? Why?
Out of the 22 million, 4 million that'll get kicked back to the politicians.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So now all that dude, so all that politician now has to do is play on the sympathies of its constituents and say, oh, Iran benefits so much from this play that goes on every year. And now they got the heartstrings of their constituents. And now the constituents are going to go, Iran needs that display in the street. It needs it. It can't go on without it.
So that's why they didn't want Trump to get reelected.
Right. Exactly. Because he exposes it. He exposes their weakness.
So what's going to be the outcome for the next, okay, let's not even think of 4 years, but for the next summer, the next 3 months, are we going to see more exposure? Are we going to see more protests, pushback?
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to see?
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's my question. This is my biggest concern.
It's going to get crazy.
Here's my biggest concern.
Yeah,
why aren't nobody's getting arrested? Like none of the Democrats that are being exposed and all that stuff. How come they're not being like locked up?
Democrat cities. Sanctuary city. Democrat.
Because you have to realize if they did it in a red state, if they did it in a red state, they would be locked up. Like Florida. If they did in Florida, example, in Florida, you can't protest. You protest and block anything, and you're in jail. You're going to jail that day.
I like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm moving to where's that? Florida? I'm moving to Florida.
Go to YouTube and type in Florida protest and see how the police handle it. They pick them right up off the street, put them in handcuffs, bang, they're on. You can't. New York is a sanctuary city, so we have to coddle these people. We can't hurt their feelings.
Right.
Okay.
Portland, Seattle, all of them are Democrat cities, and they block everything. They
Absolutely.
People. And that's not peaceful protesting.
No. When you block any sort of thoroughfare, when you block a bridge or you block a tunnel, You're taking people's lives into your hand because there could be an ambulance who wants to get through there, or it could be a fire truck. And what you forget is that fire truck could be going to your house. And if he's going to your house, I guarantee you don't want anybody stopping it. So don't do it to somebody else.
Right. But they don't think that.
Yeah, that's just logic.
Common sense. Here we are.
So there you go. To close out this podcast, the Common Sense Podcast, where do we go from here?
What do you mean? You have to be a little more clear.
Yeah, where do we go from here? Is it going to be 4 years of craziness and pushback and resistance and this, that, and the other thing? And then
the good thing. Go ahead. Well, see. Oh, okay. So let's go a different route here. Let's. What you're finished? You don't have enough time. You got to get off.
No, not at all.
Okay. So all right. So wait. Let me go into some. Let's take this in another direction.
Okay.
As long as we're on this. So suppose I tell you that their biggest screw up was rigging the election of 2020.
Ooh.
That's their biggest screw up. And I'll tell you why. Okay. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
In 2020, they had the most hated man in the world to run against, Donald Trump. He was hated. He was hated. He was held up. He was hogtied by all of the impeachment and the impeachment really should have never went on because the impeachment was done because they said he was making up everything about Hunter's laptop. And we know now that Hunter did have the laptop, so that was real. So that impeachment should be thrown out that should be thrown out anyway. But let's get back to the subject. So in 2020, they had the most hated man on the face of the earth to run against. Okay? And instead of letting him win, they rigged the election. And I told you that about the 10 extra million votes that were gone. Remember, I told you? Right. Okay. So when they rigged the election to beat him, I'm just rounding off. When they rigged the election to beat him, okay, what they did was they instead of letting him win, and he still would have been hated, and they could have kept him tied up, but he wouldn't have found anything out. Because he would have been too busy with all the law stuff.
Right.
Instead of doing that, they beat him. And once he was gone, instead of leaving him alone, they now turned around and used lawfare against him to try to stop him. Now, the thing about an American, okay, a real American, I'm talking about a real down-heart American, is we love the underdog. Okay.
Yeah.
And by underdog, I mean, we love the underdog with power, like a John Wick or a Jack Reacher or someone like that.
Right. And
that's what Trump is. And so what they did was, they turned him by going after him like this. We turned around and we looked and we were like 110 charges against the 74-year-old man who never had a charge in his life. Something's not right there. And we started thinking about it. And then you had the assassinations and stuff, which they didn't expect.
No.
Which propelled him into hero status. So now you got a guy who nobody wants to give an issue to because he's shown his strength, okay? And he's going to beat you. If you had just let him run for the 4 years, let him have the presidency, you could have kept him tied up. And then in 2024, you could have taken everything back and no one would have known anything. Instead of doing that, what you did was you went into your backyard and you threw 15 rakes on the floor and you put on a blindfold and started walking around and whacking yourself in the head with these rakes. That's what you did.
I like that analogy.
It's true.
All right. So before we wrap up, here's what I want to know from y'all. Did Trump policy personally help or hurt you? Was he good for the country overall or just certain groups? And do you think Trump or someone like him will win the White House again? Call in, comment. We'll be reading and responding all week. And don't forget, next Saturday, there you go. Oh, there you go. Next Saturday, don't forget to time in next Saturday and for another episode. Make sure to subscribe to the Political Common Podcast, CommonSense Podcast.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Before we go anywhere. Okay, actually two things. I'm sorry. In probably not the next episode, but the following episode, we're probably going to do live. So you'll be able to join in with us. The other thing I want to say is if you guys got some time and you got some extra cash or anything like that, do me a favor, donate to Shriners, donate to St. Jude's, donate to Towers, Tunnels with Towers, donate to Wounded Warriors. And even if it's 10 cents, 15 cents, whatever you got, it doesn't matter. Round up if you're at like Petco or something like that. They really need it. And if you see these kids are amazing that they can walk around smiling and singing.
Really?
You know, like, you know, someone, you know, I'm generally in a lot of pain. And Kerry can tell you, I took a spill this week that was really freaking bad.
Yeah.
And like, people go, well, you know, doesn't it hurt? And the first thing I say to them is, you know, I watch TV and I see these kids on TV and they got cancer and they've got, you know, they're missing legs and they're singing and smiling. And I got the nerve to worry about the little scrape on my elbow or whatever. Anyway, I really just wanted to put that out there that, you know, they really need your help. So help them out.
Yes.
That's all. Go ahead, my brother. It's all you.
Yeah, one more, the Kerry Fund. And to the Kerry Fund, too.
The Kerry Fund. There you go. That's right. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. Stay engaged, stay informed, and we'll see you next week.
Later, people.